Hi people, Daniel from Devil & Sons Guitars here, and today we're looking at P for P90. Now before I even talk about P90s, don't forget that each video in this A to Z series is going to feature a well-known guitar brand via the use of the first letter of their name and their logo. Here's the P. Do you know what it is? At the end of this series, I'm going to have a video which shows all 26 letters, a bit like a quiz, and you can see how many of them you got right. But for now, let's get down to the P90. So here I have three pickup covers. I've got the P90, which this video is focused on. I've got a classic single coil and I've got a standard humbucker here. So what we'll notice is that the P90 is slightly longer than the standard pickup. You can see the pickup's got these little ears on it, but if you take them off, it's a bit longer. It's also a bit longer than the humbucker. If you compare the width, it's wider than a single coil, but it's a bit narrower than a humbucker. So you'd be forgiven for thinking that it sits somewhere in between the two. But the fact is, the P90 originates from just after World War II, when Gibson restarted up their manufacturing, and that's when they introduced it. So 1946, so it predates the humbuckers, and it's in fact just a single coil that's slightly bigger. So it's a wider, longer bobbin, but it's actually not quite as deep. The poles aren't quite as high on a P90. But because it's a different size bobbin, with the wire round around it on the inside, it gives a slightly different sound. It's actually maybe slightly warmer with less edge and brightness to it. Now, if you want to know more about what I'm talking about with the wires going around it, you can watch my single coil video coming up in my A to Z series under S. I'm not going to really repeat myself because essentially it's the same, just a different footprint, and that gives it a different tone. Whereas a humbucker, if you watch my humbucker video, is two single coils put together, which help not only intensify the sound and make it a bit stronger, the signal a bit stronger, but they get rid of the hum that both the P90 and the single coil pickup pick up, because it's that background noise, it's the electricity hum that goes through the circuits. So the P90, although it's got a different tone to a standard single coil, sounds very similar with the hum that it can get. Now later on, some people did start making humbuckers in the P90 sort of size, so they could fit the shape that was already routed into a guitar body for those that wanted a humbucker. But when we talk about P90s, we normally think of it as a single coil. So yeah, because it's a different size, they all need a different size route in the guitar body, a different size hole in the pickup cover if they're on it. Really, what happened when the humbucker came out in the 50s, 57 in fact, is when Gibson started putting humbuckers into their main ranges. The P90s got shifted, so they were only in their more budget range at the time, which would be the Les Paul Junior and Specials and the SG Junior and Specials. And then really they got phased out, so you didn't really see them in much. But what ended up happening with the punk movement is punk guitarists liked the SG and Les Paul Juniors and Specials because they were cheaper. And there was something about the sound coming from the P90 that cut through the sort of distortion they used. So as a result, I think because of punk, and also people like Pete Townsend and Carlos Santana were known to use these as well. But really that cheap, affordable guitar, that's what drove the P90s to be popular, the punk ethic of it all. I wouldn't say they're that cheap now. I've got this P90 shaped pickup cover here, but in fact you can get slightly different ones with the dog ears on them, which are a bit more like this, so they can be screwed in at the side, as opposed to this covering the pickup and the pickup being screwed in. Sometimes they were called the soap bar, and that's because with the screws contained within the perimeter of the pickup, it does look a bit like a soap bar. So what's your other guitar? Is it a Devil & Sons? You don't have to buy a Devil & Sons guitars to support me, you know. You can share these videos, and also you can buy t-shirts like this direct from my website, devilandsons.guitars. On that website there's a shop where I do the made-to-order guitars, and also I'd sell merch like this and the other shirts that you would have seen throughout this series. Now, talking about series, within this A to Z series, there are kind of mini series as well. And one of them, which I'm going to put into its own playlist on YouTube, is about pickups. Here we've got the P90. We've already had the humbucker earlier in the A to Z, and if you stay tuned, there's going to be another one coming up. So like, subscribe, and hit that bell to see it when it's here. Until next time, happy strumming.